Does this Executive Order number 1 of 2019 establish a fourth center of power from the president, the handshake, and the deputy president?
I would not say so. I do not think that it introduces any center of power. What it does is to make easy the implementation of government programs. That is what it does. It does not. Dr. Matiang'i is not placed in a political position. He is just coordinating the work of government, work of the other ministries. You can say, if you want, that is a first among equals. But basically, he's a cabinet secretary who does a little bit more work because his work now traverses across all the other ministries and reports to the president.
No. It's still a subordinate position. Slightly higher than other ministers, just slightly. But it is not equal to the DP. And it's not equal to the handshake man. Because whether people like it or not, Prime Minister Raila has inched himself into the center of power. And it's fair to talk about there being 3 centers of power in the country. Two of them in the presidency, supposed to be 1, but we know there are 2 within it. And then the third one, which is not even constitutional, has sneaked in and cannot be ignored. So you have, in public arena, that's the perception. Matiang'i does not create a new center of power. Because to say that there is a new center of power is to imagine that he's outside the presidency. He's not. He's just one of the cogs in the presidency. So, but an important one, a very pushy position, because Matiang'i as a person is very pushy. And that's why he gets away with things. And so the hope is that with his pushiness, he'll be able to push the agenda forward. But it does not create a new center of power.
Is there a bigger picture that is being missed by the Matiang'i-Ruto perspective given to this order?
Politically, some people have said that it sort of puts the cabinet secretary in competition with the deputy president, because the deputy president was playing more or less this role. But I do not think that this is the intention of the president. I think what is driving the president is the desire to have a legacy and to be able to deliver in good time before his second term is over. What this means is that clearly there has been what you can call a conflict of interest, so to speak, between the president and the deputy president, which is a political conflict of interest. And both interests, that of the president, desire to have a good legacy, and that of the deputy president to pull ahead of other competitors in terms of the presidential campaigns for 2022. The desires by both persons are legitimate. But to be able to avoid a conflict, the president has created this mechanism so that the president can then be in charge of the implementation of the Agenda 4.
It will depend on what people are looking for. It so happens that some people, particularly in South Nyanza, have started imagining Matiang'i as something other than a minister. And they are talking about Matiang'i replacing Simeon Nyachae as the kingpin of the Abagusi. And I don't think he minds. So that kind of thing. So it's been very good for Matiang'i as a person. If he has political ambitions, then this is building him very well. That is, if he has political ambition. There are people who like to read things that may not be there. To say that it's a contest between Matiang'i and Ruto, I think it's stretching a little far. Because Ruto has his own work cut out. He has a constitutional office to look after. And the people are dreaming about the coming election, which is now 3 years away. Because that's what it boils down to. Now, the likely candidate 3 years from now Some of them have already shown their faces. Others are yet to emerge. There may be even some adjustments in the constitution to accommodate a few people for their own interest, so that they can say we are also there. These are dynamics that we are going to be watching. But what is clear is that Ruto will be a candidate in 2022, because he has made that very clear. Others are also on the way saying they also want the job. And I think Raila will be there saying he wants the job.
Does this new model under the Executive Order number 1 of 2019 mean that the executive, as currently constituted, has lost the president's confidence to deliver on the Jubilee Manifesto and perhaps President Kenyatta's Big Four agenda legacy?
I wouldn't say so. I don't think that the president has lost confidence in the way that business was being conducted before. What he has demonstrated by publishing this executive order is that there is a new sense of urgency on the part of the president to make sure that the implementation of his agenda is fast-tracked, so that when he leaves office, then people can look and say, this is what the president did in his time.
Well, the Big Four has been fluid. There are times when the president has complained about his senior government officers not delivering. He has complained about that. He has complained about corruption in the executive, and that's something needs to be done. There was last week a major conference on corruption that involved all branches of government and sub-branches that so you have the Chief Justice, you have the speakers, you have the president. The government is there entire. And they were re-examining and re-examining the issue of corruption, why it is so hard to eradicate it. In part because some of the people who are mandated to deal with the corruption are rumored to enjoy that occupation. Now it becomes very difficult. So it's not that the president has lost confidence in the presidency. It would be awkward if he lost confidence in his presidency. But he has problems with some people in the office. And so that's why I think he's tried to bring some other players, particular people who know how to look after big financial crooks, if he can get some of them.
Is Executive number 1 of 2019 an attempt by the president to elevate CS Matiang'i, weaken Deputy President Ruto, or trim his powers, as some have called it?
I wouldn't put it exactly that way. But as I have said, of course the Deputy President has an interest in pulling ahead of the competition when it comes to the next elections. And if this is getting in the work of the Agenda 4, the work of government, which then means that the President does not get as good a legacy as he would have, then I think what the President has done is to separate the politics of 2022 from the work of the government today.
I don't think so. Elevating Matiang'i, probably, because he likes Matiang'i. Okay? Trimming the deputy, I mean, it's a constitutional office.
Does this order make Matiang'i chief minister, as has been alleged?
If you want, you can say he's a chief minister. He has a few more responsibilities than the other cabinet secretaries, yes.
Well, depending on how he carries himself, because it's a leadership position. He's dealing with other ministers. If he misbehaves, you have a very hard time. But if he knows how to coordinate, because these are colleagues, you don't boss them around, they will rebel in their own ways. We know that in bureaucracy, regular bureaucracy, the bureaucrats hardly do anything the boss wants until about 3 or 4 times later. Okay? That's the nature, not just in Kenya, anywhere. You are the boss, you say, do this, Maya. Okay? And they forget. You come back 3 weeks later and say, what happened? Oh, yeah, sorry, ma'am. Yes, okay. And then they look as if they are doing something. The 4th time, then they do it. Because they say, no, this is serious. So those things are known. And some people get things done because of the way they relate to a lot of other people. I remember one person once telling me that, a very high-ranking person, so when those bureaucrats want things done, it is done in half a day. When they want it done, a very complicated matter can be done. When they don't want it done, they know all the rules why they cannot do it. And you are not supposed to operate outside the what? The rules. So they depend on how they relate to each other in order to deliver on these things. So Matiang'i's personal skills are going to be tested in this one. So it's up to him.
We always leave our viewers with suggestions on the way forward. So how do you suggest Kenya should treat this Executive Order number 1 of 2019 going forward?
I think what Kenyans should read this executive order to mean is that the president must be in charge of his business. They must also understand that in the second term, the president cannot be shackled by politics. They must find a way of making sure that despite the urge by a lot of politicians to fight for office after the term is over, the president must remain focused in terms of delivery to the people of Kenya as required of him by the Constitution.
Well, they treat it as one of those efforts by the president to get things done. The president has power to issue certain orders, to ask that certain things be done in the interest of the country. I think this is one of them because, as we noted, there was a time when it looked as if the Big Four was just floundering and not focused. So what he did is to create some focus on the Big Four, and that's the way they should treat it. Not to read other things that are not there. Some people might benefit out of it, fair enough. But if the Big Four can be delivered, other than the cohesion thing, because if you look at the cohesion, it's really outside the Big Four. And you can see it was being, that's why we have the BBI. The Big Four was being undermined by the cohesion thing. It was being undermined by the corruption thing. But Matiang'i's job is really to push the Big Four. And in doing so, then he has to coordinate very well with the BBI, the cohesion thing, which means Raila should not be angry. Okay? And then the corruption thing, coordinating the legislature, the DPP, and Maraga, David Maraga, so that the corruption snake can be slayed. Now, if the corruption snake is slayed, and if the cohesion agenda can be advanced, then it will be, and if you can persuade the bureaucrats to become a little more active, because there are some bureaucrats who don't believe in this thing, to do their thing properly, then Matiang'i will have a good job pushing the agenda. So if you can see increase in job creation, you can see increase in food production and availability. Right now we have serious problems. You hear every day people complaining about maize and other things. That's a serious problem. The health, we need health. We need houses. If these things can be seen to be delivered because of this creation of a focal point, then it would have achieved its purpose. If 2-3 years down the line, there's no difference, and people will be wondering what was it for. So it's the measurement 2-3 years down the line, we can then say whether Matiang'i's office was worth it or not.
In conclusion, therefore, we note that there are various aspects to this Executive Order number 1 of 2019 debate. It is therefore necessary to examine the issues more holistically. Thank you all for watching. Let us continue to have this conversation on our various platforms below. We look forward to receiving your comments and contributions on the comments section below. Feel free to let us know if there is any topic that you would like for us to discuss. Also remember to subscribe to Utafiti Hub through the subscribe button. Utafiti Hub, capacity through many lenses.